What is you doing?
I was rolling over the freaking wiring, so I wanted to make sure I didn't mess it up. And that's how you start a podcast.
Classic. People are going to love to hear that.
Yeah.
They're really going to love it. I think they're going to be really into
Maybe
it.
we started by welcoming the new co-host,
Hey!
Ted.
Hello.
Classic.
How's it going?
The boys are all here. We're here.
Back
We're
in town.
Queer. Get used to it.
God damn it, Jay.
No?
Hold on
No.
a second.
Nope. Okay.
That's-
Okay. So clear objections there.
Insensitive.
Welcome to the podcast, everyone. This is episode 49 of NB.
Yay!
Ted,
worry
I didn't
about
get
it.
the
You'll
memo
pick
on
up.
that.
You'll pick
really.
up on it. You'll
In
pick
all
up on
honesty,
it.
Matt never did it. He
Matt
always
didn't do it
He
often.
always just gave us
It's
looks
true.
like, you fucking idiots.
It's true. Welcome back, y'all. This is episode 49. Has there ever been a number 49 of mention that's worth mentioning in NBA history? NBA history, number 49. I feel like we should come prepared for
yeah,
these.
probably.
Dennis Rodman probably wore like number 49 at
Did
some point.
He definitely
in his
wore a
career.
lot of nines.
Like he wore weird numbers. Like
That's true. 49? What do you got, Nicky?
I don't know. I'm gonna
George
believe
Mikan,
it
I think,
now.
wore number 49.
I think that was a 99 too. 49.
Shandon.
I'm just making this up.
Shandon Anderson. He
Shandon
played-
Anderson, of
the
course.
Utah Jazz.
There you
right?
go.
And then Mel McCants.
Yep.
The
Nope.
Lakers in the 90s.
Nope.
Oh,
You
of
mean
course.
Rashad?
No, remember Mel McCants?
You think?
No?
I think you mean Rashad McCants. Rashad McCants?
Fun fact, I own
No,
a
it says
Rashad
here.
McCants Timberwolves jersey. I have no idea where it is, but I went to a Timberwolves game in 2009, and they were on sale in every sporting goods store for like $15.
I was going to say nobody. Rashad McCants doesn't own a Rashad McCants jersey. Cool. Well, welcome back, y'all. Boy, are the playoffs are heating up. Last night, the Celtics came back, won 96-83 versus the Cavs. They now have a 3-2 lead in this series. Jason Tatum, great game, buddy. Great freaking game. People are saying that the Cavs kind of gave up last night. There was one very long scene of LeBron drinking a lot of water. Can we just talk about how much water he was just chugging down? It was an entire, it was like a large Fiji bottle.
I mean, he sweats like fucking crazy
He
during the
does.
game, so it makes sense.
He does.
Guy looked like me on a Friday morning at work when I've gone out all night on a Thursday.
Yeah. So I guess the question that I had for you guys is, do we think that the Cavs, because it seems like this is happening a lot this playoffs, where the team that goes down by a lot, because we'll talk about this later, but there's only been one game that hasn't been a blowout.
I think two. Because I guess that
every game except for the Rockets Warriors game
that
last
wasn't
week.
a
Yeah.
blowout wasn't really close either. Like I
Right.
never felt like it was close.
Yeah, that's true. It didn't feel very
and
close.
when I say it wasn't a blowout, it was a 9-point victory, and
Yeah.
it should have been an 11-point victory, arguably. But I guess so. One of the things that seems to be a commonality in this playoffs is like the team that goes down fast coasts. Or have you? Maybe I'm reading too much into this shit. Have you guys noticed the same thing?
I think the Cavs coast.
Yeah.
It felt that way, right?
I feel like Boston might just be so young that they don't know what to do when they're like down in a series. Like
Maybe that's true.
Like I think
I mean,
the Cavs coast though.
They are the team that came back from being down 22 against Philly. So
True.
I think that's they clearly don't have they don't have an off button.
They're too stupid to give up, I guess.
Right, just
Which
too
is
ignorant.
that's nice.
But yeah, it's like there was points in the game where it was just like, one, the Cavs rotations were weird. Like Kyle Korver didn't play nearly as much as J.R. Smith, who's been basically a nothing this entire playoffs. But yeah, like it just there was parts of the games where it just felt like people are already talking shit about how the Cavs don't cover a lot of the court. But for whatever reason, it's just like last night it really, really felt like the Cavs were like, you know what, we'll get them. We'll get them when we go back to Cleveland.
Yeah, when we go back to
Cleveland, we'll get them.
Which
we'll
they
just take this night off.
They probably will. But yeah, I watching that game very, very quickly. It seemed a lot like Game 1, where you were like, okay, it's a little competition. Then you're like, all right, this doesn't seem that competitive anymore.
Yeah,
and a little bit of Game 2 as well. But it was I don't know. It was interesting watching it. I did enjoy. I got to give it up to Larry Nance Jr. He seemed to play his ass off a little bit.
I'm glad they're giving him minutes.
Yeah, finally, because he is. I mean, I think he's fucking putting effort, which is nice because not everybody else is.
They needed something else out of it because, like, I mean, it was another one of those games where, you know, LeBron did his LeBron thing, and then Kevin Love had, I think, 14.
Shot like 6 of 13 from the floor.
Yeah,
and he
and
had
then
like 17 or something.
everybody
like that.
else
14.
was a big fat nothing. Tristan
Whole lot
Thompson
of
had
nothing.
1 point. George Hill had 7 points. and JR continues to be a nothing. It just shocks me that like
our boy Jeff Green had 8 points.
Oh God!
Oh, man.
See, that's bad.
I'm not gonna get into
that's
that.
Bad.
I hate that guy.
When that guy, I mean,
Jay's not a huge fan of his
Jeff
either.
Green was the third leading scorer for the Cavs last night. That's bad.
Oh,
that's
yeah, that's
really
terrible.
fucking bad.
For sure.
But yeah, it just was another one of those games where Boston's defense just clambered down, and a lot of people thought that they would have a good game going back home because like it's hard to go on the road, especially as a young player, especially as a rookie in the playoffs. So there's just like a comfort level when they go back home, and it clearly shows. I mean, the outcome is clear as day. I mean, no team has lost on the road. I mean, pardon me, won on the road in this matchup thus far.
And that's how it was in the when they played the Bucks. No team won an away game. It was all home games that they won. Right. And also against the Sixers, they never lost a home game. They literally Celtics every time they're at home they won.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it'll be nice to see.
I would love. I don't know why I haven't gone to see a big game in Boston. I've been there. I was there. You know what? That's why. Because I was there in February and they weren't playing. That's why. I answered my own question. Good job, Jay. So ultimately, do we think that last night's game is kind of one of those trend-setting games where, I guess the question is, do the Celtics finish this off in Game 6?
No. Yeah. I said going to 7 games, which I'm going to feel bad for the Celtics because if it's the first time that they lose at home, it would make sense because it's going to be in a Game 7
well,
against
that's why
LeBron James.
There's just like this LeBron narrative where he wins at home and then he just crushes the spirits of the Boston faithful in Game 7.
That's exactly what will happen. I guarantee
it feels almost inevitable.
They need to, like the Celtics need to win.
So this is the question that keeps getting thrown around because like it got thrown around in the Warriors Rocket series, and now the question is, who has more pressure in Game 6, the Celtics or the Cavs?
I feel like it's sadly the Celtics.
I think so. I think the Celtics too.
Right?
Like if you don't close LeBron out now, good luck closing him out in fucking Game 7. Right? Like I don't want any part of that.
Ask the same thing to the Pacers.
Yeah, it's gonna be interesting. So okay, I guess so unanimously we think that the Cavs will pull it out.
I hope they don't, but I think they will.
So let's say that the Celtics win this series. Do we think that this team, as currently constructed, matches up well against the winner of the Warrior Rockets series?
If they have Gordon Hayward and Kyrie Irving, but it's just that. I mean, they do if they have those two guys, but with the roster that they have now, that they're forced to play, no.
So here's the only caveat to that. I think if the Rockets can pull this series out against the Warriors, that's actually a very entertaining series because the Rockets do like to play small. The only big guy that they really have is Clint Capella. So from a matchups perspective, it's going to be hard to figure out who you're going to put on James Harden and who you're going to put on Chris Paul. But like Marcus Smart is going to get up in either one of those guys. You're going to have somebody who can get in there and play some defense, even putting like Shemi for a couple of minutes just to like throw him at James Harden. They have a lot of different people that they can give looks at James Harden and Chris Paul. That series intrigues me a lot more than them going up against the Warriors.
Yeah, and I was going to say Marcus Smart versus Chris Paul. Ooh, that sounds like so much fun.
Somebody's going to fight.
Oh, somebody's going to hit somebody.
Him and PJ Tucker are going to fight. They're going to get into it.
I forgot about PJ Tucker there too. Oh, man.
PJ Tucker's going to get into it.
It's about to be that's actually, you made a pretty good point though. Like if they play the Rockets, like they probably match up well.
From a matchup perspective.
Yeah.
And in all honesty, like I'm just kind of expecting the Warriors to win. So when you say do they match up, I'm like, yeah, if they have these other two superstars and they're playing the Warriors, sure.
Right.
I didn't really consider the Rockets a matchup because I just don't think it's going to happen in all honesty.
So I mean that's kind of a good segue here is, the Rockets. So Tad and I watched the game the other night together, and that sounded romantic. It was
cool.
It was pretty romantic.
Which game did you guys watch?
Game 4 when they won.
Oh, okay.
The most recent, most recent one.
Nice.
Coronas and tacos. And
that's true.
It was a nice little time.
That sounds like a nice night.
Both of our feet were out. But anyways, Lauren, if you're listening to this, I'm sorry. Nonetheless, tell me. I mean, when they won, like when the buzzer went off in the fourth quarter, I was like, oh shit, they won. Look at that. It was a weird game.
We literally, I think, said that out loud to each other.
It kept happening where it's just like they went on a run, and like KD did not have a great game. And when Clay went down with his knee injury, he wasn't the same. He had a couple shots and he's still doing Clay shit, but like he wasn't as effective as he was. or as he has been, and they clearly missed Iggy.
Yeah. Did they miss
a
him?
lot? Like a guy who can defend the perimeter and hit the occasional three. Like you're not gonna replace him with Swaggy P. You're just not.
Yeah.
And we were talking about this on the way here.
And they gave some minutes to more minutes to Looney, and they also gave a couple to Jordan Bell. I think Jordan Bell actually played pretty good in Game 4.
They needed him. They needed him because like Kevon Looney has been good for them, but he's a nothing on the offensive end.
Yeah.
But Jordan Bell's not the answer to their questions. Like he's not the answer to their problems. They need, especially if Clay's going to be out too. Like it seems
he's in.
Yeah.
Declared him in.
But if he's like 60% Clay and not like 80% Clay.
Yeah.
I actually think that helps.
You think that helps the Warriors?
I actually think that helps the Warriors, and I'll tell you why. You made a note of it when we were watching the game the other night. They've been doing this thing recently, like where they try to get him going, like in the beginning, like they're like kind of feeding him and trying to get him going. And I think with him like not at 100%, they're going to move away from that and actually get Curry and KD more shots and better looks and kind of run the flow of the offense through those two guys initially. That can be a backbreaker. Yeah. Like, I mean, the Rockets have shown that they're going to, get back up and keep punching, but I honestly think it could be a benefit. It might not be. I could be completely wrong. Klay Thompson's a good basketball player, but like,
it's not bad.
But,
not bad.
I think it'll actually help.
So, this series after Game 1 just seemed like a done deal, and then Game 2 they lost. Game 3 they came back and won. Game 4 they just didn't look the same. Ultimately, like who do you think is to blame for the mishappenings to this point? Like, is it a clear this person? Is it injuries? Is it Steve Kerr? Like, what do you think has contributed to them maybe having these very up and down games?
I think actually what it is more is the 2 games that they've won. The Rockets, like their team had like fell apart. Game 1, it was literally just James Harden. Then Game 2 came in. PJ Tucker put some effort in there. Eric Gordon played really well. Chris Paul did great. Game 3, they all shat the bed.
Right.
Game 4, they all did great again.
Yeah.
So I actually think it was the reason they're whooping so much ass on the 2 games they won is because the Rockets sucked.
Yeah. But Chris Paul wasn't even that great in Game 4. So if they can get a good Chris Paul performance, that's what I'm saying. Like, if Iggy's not healthy and he doesn't play the rest of the series, and Klay Thompson is a shell of himself, I just have this suspicion that like there's a potential there for them to, especially if KD plays like he did in Game 4 for one more game. Like you're talking about some real pressure here. Now this game, the Rockets have to win tonight. They have to win tonight because you do not want to go back to Golden State.
Is it a? I'm gonna steal a little bit from the boys at Barstool, but is it a must win or is it a can't lose?
It's good question. I'm gonna say it's a must win. I'm going to say it's a must win because if they win this game, even if they go back to Golden State and they lose, Game 7 is back home. And I like the home cooking. Now, this has been one of those series where Warriors won one at home, lost one at home. Mm-hmm. Rockets won one at home, lost one at home.
Yeah.
So there's no clear home court advantage, but I still feel like if I'm the Rockets, I need to win tonight because if we lose Game 6, at least we know we're going home for Game 7. Now the Rockets fans suck. They had to send an email out to all the Rockets fans to ask them to be there an hour before the game so that they could start getting excited. Like Rockets fans historically have been good, but this current Rocket fan
last year during the playoffs, they were doing like $1 beers, pops, hot dogs, and I think popcorn or something that for the entire hour leading up to the game, up to tip-off.
Tad would be all over.
And then
$1 hot dogs.
Yeah. And then apparently it was like once it was in the first quarter, they were doing everything was $5. And then once it was the second quarter, everything went back to normal pricing so they can get motherfuckers in the seats because people in Houston just don't care about showing up at the beginning of the game.
Yeah.
You give me $1 hot dogs, I'll show up 2 hours early. Yeah. Hell, I'll show up midday. I'll leave my job and I'll sit at the arena until it's $1 hot dogs.
Just right in the freaking door, right in the doorway. And
I'll be right there.
Look right at the bus. Be like, you understand? Yeah. It's $1 hot dog.
Yeah. You're just like, you guys said you open up at 3. All right. 3. Well, it's 2:45. So
I'll wait.
If you guys want to let me in early, you could let me in early. I'm not gonna say you don't have to. But.
So Tad found an interesting tweet that I thought we could have a discussion about. It's an interesting idea. So the tweet was, if you had to take 2 rosters in the NBA to create like the super roster, basically to beat the Golden State Warriors, what 2 teams rosters do you pick?
I feel like the obvious answer would be like Celtics and Rockets, because the one thing the Rockets are kind of like definitely in need of are tall, very athletic people who can defend and hit threes because they only have like 2 of those. We thought they had more, but in the playoffs it's showing that they don't. But the Celtics have a fuck ton of those. But I think a more fun answer would be like the Pacers because they're also too dumb to quit. And you know what? The Raptors because LeBron James won't be in the game, so they'll be fine.
Interesting. So my answer was Boston and Minnesota.
Ooh, that'd be fun.
Let me explain.
Ted's like, fuck that.
Let me explain.
Hey, we love Minnesota on this podcast.
That's true. You better learn this.
I did know that.
This.
I listened to this before I got on. I did know that, so I do not.
Let me explain.
I do not love Tom Thibodeau. For those of you keeping score,
I didn't say I want Tom Thibodeau as coach. I still want Brad Stevens.
No,
as my
we
coach.
still definitely want Brad Stevens.
The rosters, I would love to see like Jimmy Butler, KAT, Jaylen Brown, Jason Tatum, and Al Horford in the same lineup.
Man, that's a big ass lineup.
But you could have that with the Pelicans, and you could have Anthony Davis. I wouldn't even play DeMarcus Cousins. Like, are we? That's the other question. Part of this question.
Oh, good question.
Do we get a healthy? Like, do you get a fully healthy lineup?
I'm gonna say you're choosing the. I'm gonna say you're choosing the roster that they ended the season with to make this fun.
Okay.
I like that better because I easily, if I had the Celtics and the Pelicans, I'd run the Warriors out of the gym in 7 games. I'd beat them in 4 games.
With 3 cola.
So who's your scoring option? Number 1 is obviously Anthony Davis, and then number 2 is Jason Tatum.
Yeah, probably.
Right?
Maybe Drew Holiday
or
maybe
Jalen. Maybe.
Yeah.
Jalen's having a fucking phenomenal playoffs. I just like the idea of like Jimmy Butler and the rest of the Celtics defense mixed with KAT as like scoring option number 2.
Andrew Wiggins is what, like your 5th or 6th option on that team?
He might be
like
my 7th option on that team. For me, Andrew Wiggins is behind Jaylen Brown 100%. He's behind Marcus Smart, frankly.
Come on. Somebody said, I saw a tweet the other day. It was like, Marcus Smart is great at bad basketball. He is awful at good basketball.
It's true though, because like the other day I was like, when they lost the other day in Cleveland, you're watching the game and you're like, God, they need him for that defensive spark, but boy, is he a fucking just headache on the offensive end. Just like bad passes, poor shot selection. He's just really, really tough to watch, but he also he ignites them. He just gives them this spark. You just kind of, you love to. You
know what he is? He's like the Rudy of the team. Everyone's just like, yeah, yo, look, he made one play. Yeah.
He's like, so here's a question. I guess this is a hard question to answer because you have to know like all-time Celtics history, but like where does Marcus Smart rank on like the best defensive players in Celtics history?
Ted, because I don't know that answer.
Well, keeping in mind that you've had guys like Tony Allen and you've had guys like Kevin McHale and Robert Parrish,
Avery Bradley.
Like
he's a better defender than Avery Bradley.
I completely agree with that. What about Tony Allen?
He's a good one.
No.
Now let's say I'm
Tony
talking
Allen
Celtics.
Is arguably
Tony Allen,
the greatest perimeter defender in NBA history.
I agree.
Maybe Mark Price is better than Tony Allen. Craig Elo.
Sure. No question. Yeah, but it's just like Marcus Smart is just one of those guys where it's just you hate to love him and you love to hate him. It's just as a fan of the team.
I actually remember when he was a sophomore. He came out, I think, after his junior season from Oklahoma State. And I remember when he was a sophomore at Oklahoma State and people were predicting him in the top 5. And Orlando Magic fans were legitimately... Like, there was a huge debate about, like, is this who we want to draft? If he comes out, do we want him? People were like, it was crazy. Like, all over, like, message boards, like, Real GM and Twitter and the subreddit and all this, all these crazy places. People really liked him. I was really high on him, and now I'm like, holy shit, could you imagine if we'd have drafted that guy with, like, the second pick? Like, what a terrible draft pick that would have been. But he's so good in what he does. Like, he fills his role and plays his part so well. Like, if he was on a trash team, like, imagine if he played for the Lakers.
Yeah.
Like, he doesn't fit, like, no. But the Celtics team is young, they're scrappy.
Although, if he was on the Lakers, because he got drafted the same year as Julius Randle, so they drafted him right after Julius Randle.
Right, he went 5th, right?
I think he went 7th.
Julius Randle went 4th.
No,
you can yeah, I'm pretty sure.
Did he go that high? I want to say Julius Randle went 8th.
Give me a second.
Julius Randle went 7th. Marcus Smart went 8th. I want to say. I'm fairly certain that Julius Randle went 7th.
I'm fact checking.
I'm doing it right now. Yeah.
I don't think he went that high.
Like, I don't even know.
But
I thought he went 4th.
Nonetheless, what I'm trying to get at is...
Yeah, like I said, he went 7th overall. That's what I was trying to tell you. He was the seventh pick.
Son of a bitch.
And Marcus Smart went 8th. That's what I just said.
Yeah, no, he didn't though. That's recorded.
You
Jay does
motherfucker.
a really good, I do a really good impersonation of Jay. So if you thought that Jay said that, it wasn't. It was
that
me.
was a really good me. But no, like if the Lakers take Marcus Smart, it doesn't win them any games, right? So it doesn't make them substantially better, and neither has Julius Randle, frankly.
Yeah, I was about to
but
say.
if we just assume that they get to where they are now and they have Lonzo next to Marcus Smart, I kind of love that. I kind of love that.
That's a real good defensive team. But ooh boy, them 3-point numbers.
They're bad. They're
God
really
damn.
bad.
That would be so bad.
So speaking of bad Orlando Magic point guards, and frankly, Marcus Smart would have been better than this gentleman. I'll stand by that. Elfrid Payton cut his hair.
Yeah.
He cut his hair.
About fucking time.
He cut his hair, boy, and he looks
terrible
cool.
before. He looks so much better now.
I hate that guy.
So for the listeners who don't know, Tad is he's an Orlando Magic fan, and he's got a lot of opinions on Elfrid Payton, and this is the one and only opportunity you get to talk about him, Tad.
We traded 2 first-round picks to get him. One of those first-round picks, we drafted Dario Saric.
Oh, I know.
And then traded him and a pick for Elfrid Payton. Then we decided, well, he can't share a backcourt with Victor Oladipo because neither of them can shoot. So we bet on Elfrid Payton and traded Victor Oladipo for fuck Serge Ibaka. Like we traded him for Serge Ibaka, who we then shipped off for like Terrence Ross, who I really like. I think he's actually a pretty good player. I think I wish he played for a better team because I really appreciate the way he plays.
He did. They were called the Toronto Raptors.
Yeah.
When he got traded.
I wish he played for a better team, but and then we literally shipped Elfrid Payton off for a fucking 2nd-round draft pick. Our backup point guard is Sheldon Mack, and I would rather have him than Elfrid Payton. He's garbage.
Hey, now you do.
You got what you wanted, buddy. So the ultimate question is, does the lack of hair help his field goal percentage
Probably
in the coming
not.
season?
Maybe because he can see.
And he's going to be lighter. That hair it was heavy. It looked heavy.
It looked heavy.
It looked very heavy.
I think, you know what? He thought to himself, the Weeknd cut his off. It's about time I cut mine off.
I literally tweeted that at him.
Oh, did you really?
I literally tweeted at him like when he still had the hair and was like, dude, the Weeknd cut his hair, bro. It's probably time. I didn't get a response. He might have blocked me on Twitter.
I wonder how many
know.
people tweeted him and they're like, you fucking biter. You're just fucking stealing the Weeknd swag again. Cutting your hair down. All right, Starboy.
Oh, you said Starboy. I was just about to go, who gonna pray for me?
So we talked about Cat a little bit earlier, and some reports came out this week that there's some trouble in Minnesota.
Meow. Sorry.
That was good.
Sorry.
That was good.
Yes.
I like that. I like that. Meow. So reports have come down where basically Cat is not happy with his situation right now in Minnesota. Seems to be some turmoil between him and the front office, aka Tom Thibodeau. Seen this before. And basically I think he tweeted out a picture of him in a Phoenix Suns jersey, and Devin Booker commented on it. Then immediately after, Zach LaVine tweeted a picture of him in a Bulls jersey.
Yes, a Bulls jersey.
Yeah.
Did you see the actual picture?
No.
Zach LaVine just did like your phone edit and then just painted the jersey red and then wrote Bulls on it.
Classic. Thanks, Zach. We appreciate it, buddy.
So good.
So
He was an art major in college. Did you know that?
Was he really?
No, I just made that up. It sounds like it could be true, right?
It does sound like it would be true because you said that, and I did go to an art school, and I was like, yeah, you can totally not have to worry about school with an art degree.
that's cool. You definitely be checked out. That's kind of the perfect degree for a future NBA player.
Yeah,
an
art degree.
You don't got to do shit, and like art is subjective, so if like nobody can really say that it sucks because it's subjective.
Yep.
But anyways, a report also came out. Basically, Minnesota was like, if it came down to it, we would keep Cat and part ways with the front office. Again, aka Tom Thibodeau. So, guys, what the fuck is happening in Minnesota? They just had their best season since 2003.
Tom Thibodeau is so overrated by Bulls fans. The only people that love Tom Thibodeau are Bulls fans. And look, I get it.
Hey, Celtics fans love his defensive
That's true.
thoughts.
That's true.
Okay, all right. So here's the problem. Here's why the Timberwolves are in this little predicament.
Kevin Garnett loves him.
Because Cat and Andrew Wiggins and probably some other people on that team, I don't think really like Jimmy Butler.
Completely agree.
I think Jimmy Butler rubs people the wrong way, and I think Taj Gibson kind of piles on with that. And I think the problem is that Tom Thibodeau tried to turn them into his Bulls team.
Denver Bulls.
That was... good like 5 years ago. Like, I mean, Jimmy Butler's still a pretty good
but
player,
the weird
but
thing
Taj
is,
Gibson, like, what the hell, man?
Dude, Taj Gibson had a phenomenal
They got
season.
somebody else too, right? They've got somebody
They had
else.
Aaron
Derrick
Brooks. And Derrick Rose, yeah.
Oh, I forgot they have Derrick Rose. Oh my god.
Oh, and he'll be coming back next year. I guarantee that. I'm sure. So my suspicion is like, so Tyus Jones and Cat are cool, and they all are pretty much. So Jimmy Butler comes in, who basically plays the same exact position as Andrew Wiggins. So, but you understand that trade. They need to make that trade. And then as the season goes on, they bring in Derrick Rose, who basically takes Tyus Jones minutes. And Tyus Jones was having a really, really solid season, and at some points was starting over Jeff Teague because Jeff Teague was a weird fit for them. So
that was a bat.
They gotta
I
get-
like.
That was a weird scene.
I
That
like
was a
Jeff
weird
Teague's
signing.
game a lot, but he's got to play somewhere where
it was
he
it was
fits.
enough.
Yeah.
It was like it was just didn't make any sense as a
They
fit.
got to get rid of Jeff Teague. I would have. I mean, I know it's a stupid idea, but I would have no problem Tyus Jones starting with the rest of those dudes.
Yeah,
he
yeah,
did, and
he's
he
just
did,
fine.
and they did amazing.
He'd be good as their starting point guard.
Yeah.
I think they need to get
Derrick
themselves.
Rose is their sixth man.
I think they
You're
need
good
to
go.
call. I think they need to call like Milwaukee or Portland and be like, "Yo, CJ for Andrew Wiggins and a pick." Who says no?
I do if I'm the Portland Trail Blazers. I don't want Andrew. I'm not big Andrew.
I'm not a
Wiggins
big
guy.
Andrew Wiggins fan
Is
either.
anybody a big Andrew Wiggins? guy?
No, but you're
Andrew
getting a pick out
Wiggins
of them. That's true. That's true. And Cat apparently. It's just a weird. Like that team on paper should have been so much better this year. Even when Jimmy went down, they still should have been substantially better.
But it was also weird to think that, like, even if they hate Jimmy Butler, you ended up realizing they were the third seed simply because of Jimmy Butler.
Jimmy Butler
'Cause
carried
he
them this entire
left,
season.
and they almost got kicked out of the playoffs, and then he came back and dragged them back into the playoffs.
That being said, Jimmy's starting to. I loved Jimmy when he was here. I really did. Now, towards the end of his career here, he definitely started to become a bit of a prima donna, and he's starting to get this like Kobe-like vibe where he's like, "You don't work as hard as me, and that makes me angry, so I don't like you." And that I struggle with that because like leaders don't. I feel like leaders don't do that.
You can do it when you're Kobe.
No.
And Jordan. I mean, in my opinion, Jimmy Butler's a top 10 player in this league. Like when he's healthy, two-way star, 20 plus point per game scorer, can lock down anybody on the perimeter.
I don't know if I could. I want to disagree with you. I really do. I don't know if I can off the top of my head. Like I'd really have to run through who I think the best players in the league are. Like I'd have to dive into.
He's
it.
better than DeMar DeRozan.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah.
better
we
than
talked
DeMar
about
DeRozan.
this earlier today.
Personally, I take him over Clay.
Yeah, I guess I could.
Probably
Maybe.
think that's tough. That's
That's
one's
a
tough.
tough one,
That's
right?
actually
That's a tough
tough.
one.
Right? Same position.
We just spent like 6 seconds of silence. You know that's a tough one.
Yeah. I mean, like you're probably right.
What about Dame? You take Jimmy over Dame?
Yeah.
Yes,
I
'cause
think
Dame
so.
can't-
Yeah.
Dame
Yeah.
can't
Yeah.
guard.
Yeah.
I love
Dame.
Dame.
Lillard guy.
I love Dame, but I take Jimmy over him.
Yeah.
The list is getting
Oh,
smaller.
wait, I'm sorry. I was saying I would take Damian Lillard over Jimmy Butler.
Oh, see, I wouldn't.
I wouldn't.
I wouldn't
Yeah.
because
Well, you're entitled to your own opinion. Just know
because
it's wrong.
you're gonna get that's fair. But from my perspective, Jimmy gives you he fills the scoreboard just as much as Dame can, but he also helps you on the defensive end.
I think Jimmy shot hunts sometimes though.
I agree with that.
Oh,
That's
yeah.
sometimes like I think like I went to a lot of Bulls games when they were bad because it was cheap. Like,
Sure.
You know, I was
Yeah.
like, oh, cool. I'll go watch him play the Knicks, whatever, $10. So I watched him like kind of. He tended to shot hunt sometimes, and maybe that was because that team was bad. And but he still does it a little bit on the Timberwolves. But you know, I kind of give him the benefit of the doubt a little bit because. Andrew Wiggins is like not that good of an offensive player.
He's very
They
limited.
gotta have somebody do it, and like
Yeah.
Cat can be kind of passive sometimes. I
I
think
completely
so.
agree.
You know, I can forgive him a little bit, but I think he shot hunts sometimes. But he's a great player. Like I respect him a lot as a basketball
Sure.
player. I think I'd love him if he was in Orlando.
Yeah.
Like you know. But you
Some-
know he's
somehow it always
he's
comes
a
back.
borderline
Gonna
top
come
10
back,
guy. You know,
man.
like you could say I'd say like. I'll meet you halfway here and say he's a top 12 player. in the NBA. Like, you know?
I'll take it.
Like, give me a little wiggle room.
My favorite number. So, but like ultimately, it comes down to
Ooh.
Tibbs.
Wait, hold on. I just have a real quick thought. Jimmy Butler Russell Westbrook.
I
take Jimmy Butler. I just want to put that out there.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I think I would take Jimmy Butler.
Oh man.
You want to talk about a shot hunter, a stat hunter? Russell Westbrook. I would take Jimmy Butler.
I have such a weird
So do I. I know what you
relationship
mean.
with Russell Westbrook.
Yeah.
Like
I feel like the entire world who pays attention to the NBA does.
I talked about this with Eric G, who was
And
on
well,
the podcast
except
a
for
couple
Russell
weeks ago.
Westbrook. Russell Westbrook is
Yeah,
definitely
he loves
very
himself.
against himself. Wait, what?
No, but like I talked about this with Eric G a couple weeks ago, and it was just like regular season Russ is you just love him, you love watching it,
Phenomenal.
you really do. And then playoff Russ just gets to this point where it just makes you sick. It makes you sick to watch him play basketball.
I think what the Thunder should do is all of their practices let Russell Westbrook practice just with a bunch of cones, and then let everyone else practice without Russell Westbrook. That way, when the actual playoffs
Then they know
come
what
in,
to do. Also, no ball. So
They get no ball. I was just about to say that.
that's ultimately the way they have to do that.
Yeah.
It's going to be interesting to see what happens. There's no way that Minnesota trades Cat. There's
Hell
no
fucking no.
fucking way.
He's a franchise
He's
player.
a generational type of talent.
he is their
They
future.
need to bring Kevin Garnett back because
I would
Cat
love to
was
see him
playing
in.
his
I don't
best-
think he wants to though. I don't think he wants to be in that type of role.
I doubt it.
Maybe just make him head coach. You just yell at it. Like, think how good would you be if Kevin Garnett yelled at you every day?
I don't know.
You know, well,
Kevin Garnett
Jimmy
has
Butler
that same
and-
Jimmy Butler problem.
I would say Jimmy Butler and Tom Thibodeau yells at them all day,
Yeah, they
and all
got
they
enough of
do
that.
is
But Jimmy,
complain
I
about
think
it.
Jimmy loves Tom, right?
Oh
Yeah.
yeah,
Oh,
they have a
loves
great
Tom.
relationship. Great relationship.
But like, they-
he changed his career.
Mm-hmm.
He was the first guy to give him a shot. It's the 30th pick overall in the draft.
Yeah, that
Love that
was
guy.
Marquette.
pretty great.
So speaking of generational talent, story came out this week that the Spurs are planning to offer Kawhi a supermax. There's been a lot of weird shit this week. For the listeners, I did interview Walker Bailey of the Pounding the Rock blog on Monday. So make sure to check that out if you didn't. We talked about the Spurs season. And the Kawhi thing came up, obviously, a lot. It's been a really weird situation. The first reports that came out when the offseason started was basically like, we're only going to trade him if it's the best offer. Like, it's going to have to be a phenomenal offer. And then they backpedaled and said that they're going to offer him a supermax. So the question is, what the fuck are they going to do?
Give him $250 million. I mean, what's the supermax now? 5 years, 253.
5 years, 200.
Yeah, 250,
Right?
yeah, 250-ish, yeah. Something like
I
that.
might be right in a little article.
It might be
here.
there. Might be
Guys,
in the article.
we've got an
219.
article.
219. That's
All right.
my mistake.
Okay.
Sorry. So just a little under a quarter of it. Hey, you know what? If I'm Kawhi, I probably don't take that. $219 million over 5 years. It's a joke, by the way.
Yeah.
So
I can't even fathom what $219 million must
sounds so
be
nice,
like.
right?
I wonder.
I don't even have $219 in my account right now. Could you imagine if I had $219 million?
I keep telling you, we got to get you a better job.
I'm looking.
So here's the thing. He's got 2 years left on his contract. This will be the supermax extension. That means he's basically going to be a Spur for life. But this season was weird, man. Like, whatever happened there was odd. And like, we talked about this on the way here, and I shout out to Walker Bailey, but bro, you Spurs fans, like, you protect your people and your team so much, and you never want to call out the bullshit. Like, Kawhi didn't even travel. He didn't even come to playoff games that were in San Antonio.
Yeah.
In San Antonio.
Because he was in New York, wasn't he?
Yeah. But he could have easily, like, the thing is, people want to be like, well, he was trying to rehab so he can come back. No, he fucking wasn't. No, he fucking wasn't. He wasn't coming back this season. I called it. I said it when we did our second half bold predictions. I said Kawhi will not play another game this season. And I think he played one more game and then it was over.
I think that
So technically you were wrong.
if he's smart, he goes back. He comes back. Like, if he's smart, you come back. Like, if you're smart, you come back and play for.
But he's got
Are
2
we,
years.
are we willing to say Pop might be the second best coach in the league now, Brad Stevens?
It's so close, man.
Well, according
I
to
mean, what
the other
Pop-
coaches, it's Dwayne Casey.
What Pop did with that team this year, despite the fact that they ended up falling down to the 7th seed, like at one point they were the third best team in the West.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
that's incredible.
And really, the only reason they fell down was because LaMarcus Aldridge got hurt.
Right. LaMarcus Aldridge got hurt there for a little bit, and they had a lot of injuries. Tony Parker was hurt to start the season,
Yeah.
and then let's not forget that Greg Popovich did not coach in the playoffs because his wife passed away, and like there was a lot that happened with San Antonio this year.
Yeah. So, I mean, you got to, like, people are like, oh, go to the Lakers. Like, at this, in all honesty, I don't think LA is a great free agency destination. I'm not going to get into that right now just because that's a lot.
Well, let's talk about this for a second because I've had this disagreement with a lot of people because I think something that people don't put enough value on is Magic Johnson as a presence with the Lakers. Like, dudes now in the NBA care more about like their post NBA career legacy and like what
Sure.
they're able to do. And he is the GOAT as it pertains to building wealth outside of basketball after basketball's over.
Yeah.
But
Him and Shaq.
I think
And Michael.
well, yeah, Shaq.
And,
Shaq.
well, yeah.
Who endorses more products, Shaq or Mike Ditka? like those guys will slap their name on anything.
Shaq is great, and he's also very calculated though. He basically invested in Ring, the fucking security bell, and they just got purchased for a fuck ton of money. He made a lot of money off of that.
Is that those weird commercials where he pretends to be a burglar while
Yeah.
two white people just
Yeah.
At the first time I saw that commercial, I was like, Shaq, your Uncle Tom is showing, man. What the fuck, dude?
Yeah.
Figure out your life, bro.
Yeah,
he's just like ooh. He's like he's walking around like the goddamn Burger King, like Mr. King, because they had a video game for the Burger King called the Sneak King, and he would just like kind of tiptoe and go doot 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 doot. That's how fucking Shaq was walking in his commercial. He looked like a fucking idiot.
Yeah, but I think that plays a lot into guys wanting to go to LA, not just LA anymore.
But it's the circus. Like it's recently in the last few years, it's been kind of the circus. Like there's been just so much. Like I don't know. Like I just like Lonzo Ball. Like do you really want to go deal with all of that shit? Like by all accounts, like most of Lonzo Ball's teammates seem to really like him.
Yeah, exactly.
But so I have no hate for Lonzo Ball. I actually really like him. But like there's obviously the kind of circus there. Kawhi is not the kind of guy who like he doesn't see like, he's quiet. He kind of keeps to himself. He's not like a big name. He doesn't put himself out there a lot. Like I don't know how marketable that is, and like does that really matter to him? So the way that I look at it is like you can win in San Antonio. The way that TV contracts and everything are now, like people know who you are. Like you don't have to be in a huge market to be a super marketable star anymore. And like you get to play for the best coach in the NBA and arguably one of the best coaches in NBA history. Like you have a chance to win and do a lot of things. If it's me, I stay.
So the only thing is like I hear what you're saying, and a lot of people assume that about Kawhi because he doesn't talk. But Jordan Brand offered him a big contract, and he turned that shit down because he didn't think it was big enough. And now the San Antonio also offered him extension already that he turned down. Basically, he gives off this vibe that he's just like this like everyman guy who doesn't care about the limelight and just wants to win. But his actions are starting to speak a lot louder than his lack of words. We're just like the dude just. I mean,
I like that.
You
know
what I mean? Like the reality is, it's just like maybe he does want to be the star.
Well, I think he wants to be the star. I think in all honesty, and there was a lot of reports of this year, and like obviously you can read into this kind of stuff as much as you want to, but it seems like he's got some not so great people in his ear,
Right.
And I think that's problematic.
Yeah,
for
it's
him.
always like I'm not opposed to like having your family be your team around you.
Oh, I 100% am.
Because there's been situations where there's been family members that kind of take care of stuff and do right by the player.
Yeah.
But there's way more stories of that going really, really poorly.
I think dude, you got to look at like Kawhi Leonard, like kind of
Reggie Rose, son of a bitch,
dude. That guy making like $300K a year from Adidas. What a Derrick Rose got his brother a $300,000 a year consulting job with Adidas, and his buddy like a $75K a year job with Adidas. Like, yo, you want to talk about bringing your friends and family on? Like, props to you. But I think.
Hey, friends and family, why can't one of you fuckers make it already and just start giving me a bunch of money?
Something happened in the womb where I came out 5'6", so
yeah, I know,
that ruined everything. So next topic, I guess, man, the segue game is great today. Talking about another team in Texas, the Dallas Mavericks came out last week and said, we have our eyes on a couple big men. Specifically, Boogie Cousins, DeAndre Jordan, and Julius Randle. Now, another thing that happened last week is Boogie was just like, the Pelicans want me, they got to pay me.
Yeah.
And he unfollowed them on Twitter and Instagram like NBA players do.
Just real quick. I saw that too, obviously, that they unfollowed. Do people legitimately just like, does somebody scour DeMarcus Cousins' follower or like who he's following every day to see like, how do people know that so quickly?
We recently found out, I think it was last week, it was last week, that it's someone's job to count how many times James Harden dribbles a basketball.
Yeah.
Motherfuckers are thirsty for random stats.
The
It's
NBA is
ridiculous.
a 12-month it's a 12-month a year sport.
It is. No, it for sure
And
is.
it dominates the news. Like
24/7.
this is coming from, shout out to WAR Baseball Podcast.
Yeah.
We talk about this all the time. Like, baseball is boring as fuck because its players are boring as fuck. The NBA has surpassed even the NFL as it pertains to just marketability and just being out there in the limelight because their stars are marketable. They have active social media accounts and
you see them.
they're everywhere.
They don't have a helmet on.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, yeah.
They're all
like,
very charismatic.
And like, quite frankly, like, I mean, take this for what it is, but like, you got like a lot of these guys that are playing professional baseball are like Dominican or like from some
right,
some
which
country,
we did
like,
talk about that, and I did say like part of the hard part with baseball is like the language barrier. Most of these guys don't speak English, so
Yeah.
it's just like they're the best players in baseball, but also like Mike Trout is the best player in baseball, and if he walked into this room right now, I'd be like,
know who he
who the
was.
fuck is
Not
this
a
guy?
chance.
Who is this guy?
Bryce Harper, I'd know, I guess.
Sure, Bryce
Yeah.
Harper for sure,
the
and like
the
your
Cubs
local
players.
Cubs players,
Yeah,
maybe
sure.
some Sox
I
players.
will say this: even if he wasn't local, there's no way in hell I'm not going to recognize Chris Bryant's eyes.
That's fair. You get
That's
lost
it.
in him.
You get lost in them.
You
We
get
can keep
lost.
going.
He's so handsome.
Well, something that's funny is the Mavs are like, we're going to have real good centers, but they're not even talking about their own center as on the list of centers.
So
they
like
want.
Nerlens is that like
poor
he
him.
got so I was listening to a podcast the other day.
He's going to
somebody
go to Houston to eat hot dogs. That's what's
I
gonna
think
happen.
so. Here's my
love
big fear about Nerlens. I think that Nerlens is going to go into free agency this year, and Golden State's going to pick him up, and they're just going to turn him into the Nerlens he always should have been.
What a great destination! Look at what they rehabbed JaVale McGee.
I'm saying.
Oh my god.
Like the thing is,
hey, dude, hold on.
Oh no! I love. Oh no! I love. I love.
I'll
Proud-
come across
proud
this
of
table.
Homewood.
I love
Pride of
JaVale
Homewood, Flossmoor, Illinois.
McGee. No, I love him. I was just thinking to myself, like, fuck, what is if
like
that is
now
what Golden State
we're
were to
talking
do?
about younger, more athletic JaVale McGee in Nerlens Noel. And the thing is, like in Philly, he was great, serviceable, solid on the defensive end, and was a fun rim runner. What happened is Rick Carlisle does not fuck around.
Nope.
If you play his way or it's the fucking highway, he runs it like a college program. And Nerlens wanted to freelance too much on the offensive side of the court. And Rick Carlisle was like, I don't play that shit, dude. You play offense the way that I want. You pick and roll on the perimeter. You roll to the basket. You rim run. You get your alley-oops, and you stay happy. And you play defense. And that's how you play here if you want to earn touches on my team. And he didn't want to do it, so he didn't fucking play him. It's that simple.
Yeah.
But like looking at Boogie for a second, I'm curious, and we've talked about this before, but with an injury like that to a guy that's that large, what do these teams do with a guy who's clearly the best center in the NBA?
Oh, I 1,000% disagree with that statement.
Who's the best
but
center in the NBA?
I don't know, but it's not DeMarcus Cousins.
It's absolutely Boogie.
I do
Joel Embiid is better than Boogie?
I'd rather have Joel Embiid.
I mean, I would too. I like Boogie as a dude, but as a basketball player, he frustrates me to no end.
The thing is, though, like,
He's the most talented center in the NBA, bar none.
I think he's been a stat stuffer on on bad teams for a long time. He had a high usage rate in Sacramento. His average usage rate in Sacramento was like 26.5%.
He also had no help in Sacramento.
He had Rudy Gay and Darren Collison, who are
and Isaiah Thomas at one point.
Yeah, well, he pretty much got him out of there.
Which is weird because they're like best buds.
I'm not a huge DeMarcus Cousins guy, and a lot of people are, and everybody argues this.
I'm not. I've been very
into it.
vocal about how I feel about DeMarcus Cousins on many occasions.
But the thing is, no matter what, whether it's Dallas, whether it's New Orleans or whoever, like, yeah, the injury concern, like Achilles tear, like look at everybody that had an Achilles tear, like their career was immediately derailed. Like, Kobe is the one guy that you could maybe point to and say like, oh, like, but he was at the tail end of his career anyway.
Yeah, exactly. It's such a hard thing to judge because he was getting older anyways.
But somebody's going to pay him,
right?
Whether it's Dallas, whether it's New Orleans, like somebody's going to give him the money. Hell, dude, I'm telling you the truth. I don't really like him, but you know what? Maybe sell tickets in Orlando.
It always comes back to
give the guy some money. Hey, man, I don't have a lot. Okay.
Oh, we know. Well, it's funny too because like Dallas has the number 5 overall pick in this year's draft, and many people have them getting Mo Bamba. But once again, Rick Carlisle doesn't like projects. Like, it was a shock that he started Dennis Smith. It was a shock that he played Dennis Smith this year, but they had no choice.
Because they had absolutely nothing.
They had no choice.
Who's their backup point? Is Devin Harris back there?
No, well, yeah, Devin Harris is still there too, but they also have Yogi Ferrell.
Oh, yeah, forgot. I like Yogi.
Hey, boo boo.
Hey,
Picnic basket.
is JJ Barea still playing? No.
Yeah.
Yeah, JJ.
JJ's my man.
Remember when Andrew Bynum almost killed him?
Just destroying him, dude. He's so small. Why would you do that to him, Andrew?
Andrew Bynum's probably bowling right now.
No question. No question. So, couple of all NBA teams came out this week. First and foremost was the all rookie team. So I'm just going to read out the all rookie first and second teams. First team is Donovan Mitchell, Ben Simmons, Jason Tatum, Kyle Kuzma, Lauri Markkanen. Any objections on the first team, y'all?
Nah. I love it.
Me neither.
Yeah.
I mean, I feel like Lauri should have gotten a couple more first team
I completely
votes,
agree.
but how dare they?
Yeah, Yeah, no, I'd say
It's
yeah.
a good fucking.
Okay.
It's a fucking
Now,
good one.
the second team, a little bit more fun here. Dennis Smith Jr., Lonzo Ball, John Collins, Bogdan Bogdanovic.
The man's so nice they named him twice.
I fucking love Bogdan.
He's great. And then Josh Jackson. Now,
Real quick, just a weird NBA Twitter moment. One time I tweeted out, I don't think anybody really pays attention to the fact that Bogdan Bogdanovic's name is just his name repeated twice. Serbian Twitter or wherever he's from came out of the woodwork. I had like 15 replies to that tweet, and I'm like, who are these people? And like, people were like, they teed off on me about it. And I was like, yo, guys, it was just a joke.
Serbians love basketball, dude. I talk to
they
Milos
really do.
about it all the time. So any major objections with this second team? I have one in particular, but I'd like to hear everybody else's.
I'm assuming
opinion
yours is
first.
Josh Jackson.
Mine is 100% Josh Jackson.
Mainly because he did not actually have a good season until like the last
the last month of the NBA
Yeah,
season.
month.
It was like the last month and a half, 2
Like,
months.
where's my guy OG Anunoby? Where's
OG
OG?
should be in there.
Where's
Yep.
OG?
OG should have been in
Right?
there.
Like, where's Jared Allen even? Like, I would take either one of those guys over Josh Jackson this season.
Did Luke Kennard have a good season? I honestly don't know.
I don't even think Luke Kennard knows.
Yeah, it was a meh season for the Detroit Pistons as a whole. But like, all rookie teams, like Lonzo, I get it.
He righted the ship on that one.
I definitely
He
like
did a lot
John
better.
Collins a lot.
Yep.
in
John
Atlanta.
Collins is actually
He's
a player
great.
I'm very high on. I think John Collins is like I don't know if I would say this is like his player comparison, but like John Collins reminds me of a guy that'll have like a David West career where he's like a really good player always, like never like great or transcendent, but just like a really good player,
Maybe
like a really good career.
One All-Star appearance in his entire career.
Yeah, like
Maybe.
just a good like I don't know why David West is the first kind of guy that popped into my mind.
Makes
just
sense.
a good NBA player. Like he'll probably play 11,
John
12
Collins
years.
is so goddamn athletic, dude. Like he's so fucking strong and
Yeah.
athletic. Atlanta got a good one to him. And also, like, this might be a stretch. I'd take Shemi Ojale over fucking Josh Jackson's season this year. Like, there's a lot of rookies who had much better seasons than Josh
he
Jackson.
did great.
Milos, tell it what.
Nope, won't do it. Won't do it.
They're just like, he's 40. We can't say he's a rookie.
So I know I put this last, but I figured since we're on the topic of things anyways,
Let's
let's
do
just talk
it.
about it. The All NBA teams came out this week.
Yep.
This is a little bit smaller than I thought it was going to be, but I'll go ahead and
I
read
can't
it off.
read that.
I
can't read it in general. But.
That's well, that's why we're doing an audio format.
Yeah. You ain't got to read when people are saying stuff into your ears.
Try to pull it up here. Okay, so first team All NBA this season was James Harden, LeBron James, Anthony Davis, Dame Lillard, Kevin Durant. Second team, Giannis, Russ, Joel Embiid, LaMarcus Aldridge, DeMar DeRozan. Third team, Steph Curry, Victor Oladipo, Karl Anthony Towns, Jimmy Butler, Paul George. Where did they fuck up?
Victor Oladipo.
Completely agree. What team do you think he should have been on?
Number 2.
Yeah,
Second team instead of
Russell Westbrook.
Oh, I had him.
Man, Russell Westbrook averaged a triple-double this season. I can't take that away from him.
I don't care. Did anybody care? Remember when he averaged that triple-double? He needed like 16 rebounds to get it this season.
Yeah.
And he did it, and people were like, okay. Cool, man.
People
Because
were talking about it. It's 2 seasons in a row of averaging a triple-double. It's pretty impressive.
Yeah, I mean, I put him there over Westbrook. Probably, I mean, in all honesty, he should probably be over there over DeMar DeRozan.
That's
who
what
I
I would
love,
say.
by the way, but like,
I thought DeMar DeRozan for sure. A lot of people are mad about Damian Lillard making first team All NBA.
dude, that guy's so good. He has, outside of CJ, he has no help.
Yeah.
No
Because
help.
Nurkic is hit or miss.
Nurkic kind of just fell off.
Yeah.
I also want to point out on his Instagram, he put a picture of him, like, you know, on the court, and a picture of that white lady that was in Oakland that called the cops on the people for barbecuing. And he was like, "Hey, if you hating, call the cops." That's what he said. I was like, "Oh my god!"
So
he does this four bar Friday.
yeah.
And my brother makes music. He's a rap musician. And he makes music of the rap persuasion. And he always posts, like, he always sends stuff to Dame, and Dame threw him up on his Instagram one day.
Oh no shit, that's awesome.
And so I thought that was pretty cool. I don't know, Dame just seems like a really relatable dude. He's a
Yeah.
talented ass basketball player, and he has no help.
Like him as a guy. Another guy, this might be a bit of a hot take here, but I actually think that Al Horford should have been on the third team instead of Karl Anthony Towns, based on this season alone.
I think you're basing this off of a recent
Yeah,
play.
recency.
No, I'm
I feel
really
like
not.
This is a recency
I
bias.
think that Karl Anthony Towns had a subpar season overall.
Oh, I agree with that. I drafted him like 3rd overall in fantasy basketball. That guy was trash.
And I think
For my
Al
fantasy team.
Horford was basically the thing that kept that Boston Celtics defense together all season. Was an all-star. Was most likely the last pick in the All-Star game draft, but that doesn't matter.
He was. They announced it.
He's just a really boring.
He said it himself.
He's a boring player, but he was the best. He was this year's Boston Celtics MVP, and I think he should have made third team All NBA this year.
Yeah.
And I could also be persuaded to remove Paul George for Ben Simmons. I'm just gonna say that.
Oh yeah, that could work.
See, I thought Paul George got a bad rap this year, and I thought
agree.
he played really well.
He played so well.
I got no issue with that. I don't.
What about Steph Curry? Any issues with Steph Curry making any other teams this year?
No, because
Instead of like a Chris Paul?
No,
because he
I
was
take
so
most
good.
issue with Kristaps Porzingis getting 1 vote. Like,
He was
I
off
mean,
to a great
It was
start.
because he got
Also,
hurt.
Dwight Howard got a vote. Did Dwight
What?
Howard vote for Dwight Howard?
What?
Trevor Ariza got a vote.
What?
Steven Adams got a vote. 2 votes.
Steven Adams makes sense. Steven Adams is amazing.
People were mad that Nikola Jokic didn't make the team. Sorry, buddy.
that was a big thing. Like, people were.
Yo.
NBA Twitter was mad.
Yeah.
Why?
Jokic fans are fucking.
They love him.
Dude,
yeah.
They
Oh
love
my
NBA.
god, they
the
love
NBA
him.
subreddit is it's kind of a cesspool, in all honesty. Like, I feel like there's
Damn
a lot
right,
of,
baby. I'm
a
on
lot,
it every single day.
a lot of 15, 16-year-old like wigger kids that are on there.
For sure.
And they like they just like kind of get into these things, and like they love him, and I'm like, he's good, but like, holy shit, man, you guys act like he is like the second coming. And
You know why? Because every time someone is like, Jokic is just okay, they're like, but you're not looking at the per 36, man. You guys got to really look into it.
People love that.
Oh my god.
I love advanced stats. I love per 36, but like people take that like it's like the word of our
Right.
Lord.
It's gospel.
Yeah.
You know? Like,
Oh man, because if you look at per 36s, there are people who have better per 36s than Michael Jordan, who are definitely not better than Michael Jordan.
That's true.
And it's mainly because Michael Jordan, those are just his real stats, his per 36. Like it's.
So we got 2 more topics before we wrap up today. So Dwayne Casey clearly got fired recently.
and the Raptors congratulated him on
That
Twitter
was
when he
weird.
they
Why did
announced
they do
it.
that?
Now the NBA announcing the Raptors congratulated him a week after they fired him.
That's like the equivalent of you breaking up with your girl and then her birthday comes up and you see a picture of her on IG and you double tap it. Like that's just a weird way to like say
that's
you're
not
welcome.
No, it's worse than that. That's me literally posting a photo of her, and be like, happy birthday, Lauren. Like, hope it's a good one. Like that is literally
Okay.
me throwing her a birthday shout out.
You one up me. That's great.
Oh man, that's real good.
That's
I love
awful.
That.
So turns out reports came out today that he is the front runner for the Detroit Pistons coaching vacancy.
Vacancy.
He's currently on
honestly,
vacation.
coaching in Detroit is kind of like a vacation. Like,
It's like Bizarro Vacation. They use Detroit for like all the zombie movies, so it's not great.
premier destination.
Blake Griffin was on Part of My Take, and they kept asking questions about like comparing Detroit to LA, and he was just like, "Yeah, it's great. You know, there's cars everywhere, and yeah, the stadium, and
Overlooked point about playing for or working for the Detroit Pistons organization is that they are owned by the Little Caesars pizza guy, and you can get all those hot and ready pizzas. Yo, shout out! Hold on, real quick, Little Caesars, cut the check, bro. This is some free promotion right here. You get all the $5 hot and ready pizzas you want. So that's kind of overlooked, maybe.
that's true. And at Staples Center, you just get paper, and nobody wants that shit
Nobody
anymore.
wants paper.
So, anyways, Dwayne Casey, good or
Unless we
bad
talk
call for the
about that
Detroit
money.
Pistons? Good call, bad call.
Great call.
Yeah, I think it'd be fine.
That's a terrible job. If I'm Dwayne Casey, I don't want
Well,
that job.
we talked about this. Once Stan Van Gundy got fired, that's probably the worst job on the market. Because you're strapped for money. You have no flexibility
Your
whatsoever.
future is in Blake Griffin's knees and Andre Drummond's teeth.
And hairy shoulders.
Yeah. Oh, I forget he had hairy shoulders.
Such hairy shoulders.
So hairy.
He's like Fozzie Bear.
Yes.
He's so hairy.
Waka waka.
Like,
But he's got like, and then he's got like
Reggie Jackson.
whatever the hell Reggie Jackson.
Bobby
is
Shmurda.
with.
Bobby Shmurda. So yeah, I mean, Dwayne Casey. Look, I was not a big fan of Dwayne Casey's in Toronto until this past season. Really,
Yeah, he did very good this year.
I thought he to me was like the most overrated coach in the NBA. For a team that had substantial results, it just felt like he wasn't a huge asset to them and really doesn't make adjustments in the playoffs.
I like him a lot as a coach under specific circumstances. Like,
Sure.
for example, and I know I'll tie everything back to Orlando, but I'm going to do it. Orlando has a lot of young players. I don't know if I'd go as far to say young talent, but we have a lot of young players.
They got some young
and
bodies.
I think he is a guy who can get you there. He can get you to the top of the hill, but he can't get you over the hump, which is pretty
like
evident by what he did in Toronto.
Mark Jackson. I couldn't think of his name for a second there. Like a
exactly.
Mark Jackson.
I think he's a good coach, and I think he's a good coach in the right circumstance. But if head coaches get 3 years, right? You're guaranteed 3 years. They basically give you this little window. He's a 3-year coach in Detroit because that roster is terrible. They don't have any money. They're a team that will either be at the back end of the lottery or like somewhere in that. Like they might make the playoffs.
Yeah,
like,
eighth seed in the playoffs.
that
maybe.
they're in basketball purgatory. In all honesty, is where you don't want to be, and like that's not a great job. And I don't think he's a good coach for that situation.
Yeah.
Yeah, I completely agree.
I agree with that.
I wish him the best. If he does get the job, it's not set in stone yet. I also wonder who Toronto's going to go after because there aren't a lot of coaches left.
No.
Like-
Please hire Steve Clifford because apparently Orlando is interested in Steve Clifford, and that is
I don't think Steve Clifford's a bad coach. I think he
he
got a
doesn't
bad.
play. He won't play. He doesn't play young guys though.
He also was in a situation where like Michael Jordan gave a lot of money to a lot of people that he probably shouldn't have given money to, like Nicholas Batum and Marvin Williams. Like they gave him big contracts, and that strapped them for cash. Like he made it. Now, granted, to Jordan's credit, he made the same mistake as everybody else. When the salary cap blew up, he just threw money at people.
Marvin Williams. Marvin Williams was drafted before Chris Paul
And Darren Williams.
And everybody knows that. Like, this isn't a groundbreaking thing, but every time somebody mentions Marvin Williams, that's all I think about. He was
another
the
one of those guys.
second pick.
Yeah. Behind Aussie Andre Bogut.
I have a firm belief in that you do not draft players from the University of Kansas or the University of North Carolina. Kansas University? KU, right? Yeah, my bad. You don't draft players from Kansas or North Carolina very high. Like, okay, Michael Jordan, fine, I'll give you that. But like,
They've got a track record.
name some of the recent players that have come out of there.
They haven't had anybody
Kansas
recently
either. Like, they don't.
Yeah, I was like, I can't think of shit right now.
Andrew Wiggins, Kansas. Thomas Robinson, Kansas.
Joel Embiid.
Josh Jackson, Kansas. Joel Embiid. Okay, I'm sure I'll give you that one. But
Okay,
like,
well, technically, by our standards, that means they got one for
They
each
haven't been
team.
great. I mean, Ben McLemore, like they've had a lot of busts that come out of that
What's
school.
he up to?
He was in Memphis this year, had a bad season, just like every other season in every career.
Makes sense.
I'm going to be honest with you. I thought he was still in Sacramento. So, and at one point, when he got drafted, I was like, ooh, Orlando, maybe him with the second pick. You know, like, I was
That was a weird draft. Last story of the day. So somebody posted on IG the other day, yesterday, in fact, and basically said that Kyle Korver is better than Carmelo Anthony as of today. And Melo was not happy about this. He clapped back and said, "Get the fuck out of here." Now, none of us are stupid enough to believe that when their careers are over, that people will say that Kyle Korver had a better career than Carmelo Anthony.
Kyle Korver's from Iowa. I might.
Okay, well, us that don't have biased opinions will never say that Carmelo Anthony didn't have a better career overall than Kyle Korver. However, this season, the 2018 version of Kyle Korver versus Carmelo Anthony, it's hard not to argue that Kyle Korver was more impactful and a better player than Carmelo Anthony this season.
I'd probably rather have him this year and maybe last year too. Maybe last year.
I
You
agree.
can maybe convince me last year.
I agree. Although Kyle Korver was in a weird situation last year in Atlanta and then kind of like picked things up when he got traded to Cleveland. So like he was kind of in no man's land. But this year playing for the Cavs and even in the playoffs, like he's basically been the second best player on Cleveland's team this entire playoff run.
Either the second or the third, depending on if Kevin Love feels like showing up that game. And I don't like Carmelo Anthony is just the most confident man I have ever met.
He really is.
And it's weird to think that on a team that has Russell Westbrook isn't the most confident player on the team. Because Carmelo Anthony is like, what are you guys talking about? You see that jab step? I'm going to get everything. I can do this. Don't worry about it. I'm going to shoot threes. And like, but you haven't hit like the last 19 threes.
He shot like 31% from three this season.
Was bad.
Yeah.
It was bad.
It was
and worse in the
ridiculous.
playoffs somehow.
Yeah. He made Andre Roberson look good at shooting threes. It was wild.
Jay, what did I say about Carmelo Anthony a couple weeks ago? Maybe 2 or 3 weeks ago? I referred to him as trash.
That's true. He said it just
that's
like,
what he is. I said it just like that.
He said it just like that. I was there. We couldn't stop talking about it.
He's so bad. Like he doesn't. He is a net negative for you on the floor at this point in his career.
His old man game he's just an old man now. He is. He's another one of those NBA players who's always been doughy, and it's just he's never taken care of himself. He's never really, now granted, offensively at his peak, he had so many different ways to get at you, so many different ways to kill you, but he hasn't taken care of himself, and he's aging. He's aging worse than Dwayne Wade, and I thought Dwayne Wade was just like done.
He's kind of like, I don't mean this in a skill set comparison, but like he's kind of like a Dominique Wilkins to some degree. That like really like Dominique. I love Dominique Wilkins, like one of my favorite like old school players of all time. But like, what did Dominique Wilkins do? He scored a lot of points. He grabbed some rebounds. He dished out some assists. He had some fucking cool dunks and stuff. But like outside of that, like he didn't do anything. He didn't win anything. He didn't really ever make his team that much better. And that's like kind of Carmelo Anthony.
Yeah, he's gonna go down like Allen Iverson did, where Allen Iverson's like, I'm starting or I'm not fucking playing.
The most overrated player of all time.
Stop. All right, we're gonna stop this recording. now
I'm just kidding.
Drunk
I just
and
like to throw a hot take
nonsense.
sometimes and see what the response is.
Predictions for tonight's game.
I think Golden State. I just don't foresee them losing 2 in a row. I think it hasn't happened to them in like
Golden
2
State
years.
by more than 10.
Okay.
Golden State by double digits.
Golden
10
State,
or more.
10 or more. 10 or more.
10 or
okay.
more.
I think that the Warriors are going to lose. I'm going to call the Rockets winning by a wide margin. I'm going to say Rockets by 14.
Damn.
Okay. Just curious. KD or like who? How many does KD have tonight? KD have a good game or a bad game tonight?
I think KD has another bad game, and I think that's why the Rockets end up winning this game.
Okay.
That's my prediction.
I think Steph's going to go off for 30 plus.
I think so too.
And I think they're going to win by double digits.
All right. Well, it's on the record, y'all. Anything you want to talk about before we wrap up today?
Follow me on Instagram and Twitter at Nicky Palooza.
Time to plug.
If y'all's in the Chicagoland area, the next 4 Sunday, I got 4 more shows at the IO Theater. Be performing improv 8 p.m. Sundays 8 p.m. In the Del Close Theater. That's the theater name.
What time is that at again?
8 p.m.
Thank you.
Sundays at 8 p.m.
Yeah, I'm just going to plug my social media.
Of course.
You can follow me on Twitter at @TadHall_. You can also follow me on Instagram at tad.hall. I don't recommend it. I literally only post pictures with my girlfriend, so like it's really not super interesting.
Not a great follow. Sorry,
it's not
Lauren.
a great follow. I'm gonna be honest with you.
Lauren's great. Y'all are not a good follow. You can follow me at J_Quiles on Instagram and on Twitter. You can also follow NBA on Instagram at NBA Pod, on Twitter at NBA Pod, and on Facebook at, you guessed it, NBA Pod. Don't forget to rate and review the podcast. Give us 5 stars if you feel so inclined to do so. Also, give us a rating and review. It really helps other people find the podcast. Tell your friends. It's basketball season. It's playoff season. We're about to be in the finals. People want to listen to people talk about basketball. For Tad, for Nicky, for Jay, this has been NBA. We're out. Bye.